I had not tuned in to Rush Limbaugh for a long time. I used to listen to him quite a bit in like 15, 20 years ago. Um, he hasn't really been that relevant to me for a while, and I know that he's ailing now, of course, and I wish him all the best in that regard. But it seems that he has recently made a statement in which he says that, and this siren that you can hear is symbolic of America right now. America needing emergency help because it is falling apart. And Rush Limbaugh says, maybe secession is the answer. Maybe that's what it's going to have to end up with. That's what we're going to have to end up doing, is seceding. He didn't really go into any more detail about it, but secession has been something that I have always thought of as it's been something I've pushed in my own small way for a long time. It hasn't crossed my mind much lately. It just doesn't seem to me that the current way of the current state of things is tenable. It doesn't seem like it's stable over any kind of longer term. I mean, it's not even that stable in the short term. What holds us together is, I think, prosperity only. I mean, the fact that it's a first world country, and that even though there's been a lot of problems with the economy over the last 40 or 50 years, since the cost of living has gone up, and all the things I've talked about before, and how it's pretty much impossible, or not impossible, but very difficult to be a man raising the family in the traditional sense, with a woman staying home, and the guy going out and being the breadwinner. That's something that they've made it very difficult to do, but still, nevertheless, economically speaking, people still, the stores are stocked with food, and, for all of the despair and all of the alarm and all of the bad vibes, there still is a general sense of stability in the general, general prosperity of things, in a relative sense. Now, if there were to be some kind of disaster, if there were to be some kind of Great Depression, and the stores were depleted of food, and you didn't know where your next meal was coming from, and or some other kind of powder keg, if something were to happen, that would really aggravate this along the fault line of where we are divided right now as a nation. I mean, of course, that's been going on almost nonstop for the last few years, especially the last 4 years, with the way the media and academia and all of the cultural shaping institutions, all of the depraved and degenerate rulers of our culture, the way that they've all behaved ever since Donald Trump got elected. It's pretty much been non-stop rancor and bad vibes. And of course, Donald Trump is someone who thrives on bad vibes, thrives in the midst of chaos and division, and so he was flinging back, and his supporters fling back and give as well as they can get, and the result is now we are more divided than ever, to the point where the doctor of democracy himself, Rush Limbaugh, is saying maybe what we need is secession. Now, Limbaugh mentioned this in a way that was kind of like, I think we can still find a majority and have the kind of nation the way that it ought to be. But maybe secession is going to have to come into play. So interesting to hear Rush Limbaugh, of all people, say that secession might be an answer, might be the answer. How will it all develop? How will it all shake out? That's another big question. I really do honestly think that it's secession or it's civil war eventually, and I prefer secession to civil war, because I think a civil war that would happen now would be pretty nasty business. It would be something more along the lines of I heard somebody say this before, but I'm just repeating it now. I didn't invent this. I want to make that clear. But a civil war in the United States right now would be more along the lines of the Spanish Civil War, where there were reprisals and atrocities and atrocities for reprisals and reprisals for atrocities, and both sides committing acts of violence against civilians, and which is not what the American Civil War was, generally speaking, until General Sherman, of course, marched to the sea and burned down the state of Georgia, which wasn't very civil on his part, ironically. So it's going to be ultimately civil war or secession, and I think we need to find a way to make secession happen. But how is that going to take place? I don't know, but it's got to happen. It's I'm going to be more emphatic about it than Rush Limbaugh was. It's got to happen. One way or another, we've got to help it happen, or else things will get really, really ugly. I mean, much worse than even they are right now, and things are bad right now. Those are my thoughts on the subject. Let me know what you think. My name is Andy Nowicki. Check out my work at altrightnovelist.com.